Welcome back to the grind. In this video, we are going to talk about the exotic combo rune branch that is in the Aftermath season and unfortunately is only available for another 2 to 3 days. Now, I apologize for not getting this video out sooner, but this video is going to break down the branch itself as well as the rune and who might want a rune like this. Now, the first item in this branch, is Elemental Embers, and it's 8,000 for 500 sigils. Now, compared to the other, deals and offers that we've been given in the past, it's actually a decent deal. It's not amazing, game-changing. It's not bad. It's actually pretty good. So if you need embers and you have extra sigils and you just want to grab this, then it's a good value. Actually, you know what? Let's first take a look at the rune itself, so then maybe you can judge whether or not you're going to want to get certain aspects of this branch or not. Now, the rune here is one that we've never seen before. It gives HP to 2 different tower types, whereas typically a rune or glyph gives stats specifically for one tower and gives one stat with a little bit more and one stat with a little bit less. Now, this one is going to give HP to ice flaks and dark flaks. And it's going to go to only count for the towers, obviously, they're in that rune branch. So if you're on island 1 to 2, it'll cover both of those sets of 5 slots. But for all other islands, your rune slots only match for a single block of 5 towers. So this means if you're going to use this rune, you really want to put it on a spot where you have both a dark flak and an ice flak. Otherwise, it's a wasted slot. And using this one is overall going to add more HP to your total island cluster than if you had a single ice flak glyph, for example, that gave HP and attack, because then you're going to give HP to 2 towers instead of 1. And as most of you may know, HP is one of the most valuable stats for towers on a base, because the more health a tower has, the better chance that a tower's one-shot spell is not going to destroy it, which could really destroy their run and allow you to heal the tower, to get super shots off, and to kill the dragon. Also, the more health a tower has, the more time you have to heal the tower. The more times you can heal the tower, the longer it lives, the more shots it gets off, and potentially the more super shots you're able to apply to a tower such as an ice flak, where the super shots are very influential on a base. So actually, for players who have an ice flak and a dark flak on the same island, this rune is going to be a fairly valuable rune. And I actually have an exotic ice flak rune and an exotic dark flak rune that are on my kill island, but I think I might swap this one out for either the ice or dark flak one, potentially the dark flak one, so that I can boost my ice flak a little bit further. Anyway, so now let's take a look. So the Elemental Embers, it's a fairly good deal. So you're not losing out on getting this one. The speed ups and timers, this is also a good deal. So you're not losing out on getting this one. And the egg tokens, this is actually a fairly, a really good deal compared to the value that's been placed on egg tokens previously. You're getting a large amount of egg tokens for 1,000 sigils. Now, yes, it's a lot of sigils, but it is also a lot of egg tokens. And egg tokens is one of the main limiting factors in players' progression, especially closer to end game. This next one is interesting. Now, it is gear, and the gear for some players might be very impactful, whereas for other players like myself that have been in Atlas for a while and have been able to forge lots and lots of gear, maybe it's not as impactful. It is 1,000 sigils, and for some players it will be helpful and for some it will not be. But going on to the next one here with the Abyss eggs, if you are researching, or if you need abyssal eggs for your hut, this is a good deal for you to get. And with the price, even including the sigils from the gear branch, if it was a waste or not necessary for you, it's still a good deal instead of breeding those extra eggs if you need them. Now, if you don't need the eggs, then it's not really an added benefit, but luckily there is an option for a lot of rune dust. That's quite a bit of rune dust. That's 15 million rune dust. So that's a lot. And So if you don't need the eggs and you do need the rune dust, then that's a very good value for you to grab. If you are going down the branch, of course. And then again, we have the elemental embers for 500. Again, the speed ups, and again the egg tokens. So it repeats the good value items there. Then you come across 200 chisels, and I personally haven't been in a situation where I run out of chisels because I don't move runes around very much on my dragons. So it's not something that I pursue necessarily, but still reasonable access if you are going to get the rune. And then we have the rune for another 2,500. So I wasn't really counting, so let's add that up. That's 3,500, 4,500, 5,000, 5.5, and then 7,000, 8,000, 9,000, 9.5, and 10,000. So it is actually a very expensive branch. And then at the end, you get actually a pretty sizable amount of free elemental embers, and then a repeatable node, which is not as good of a deal as the ones that were in the branch here, but still decent if you're dying for elemental embers. But I feel like a lot of players aren't at this point. And once you spend 10,000 sigils to get this branch done, you might not want to keep sinking more into the embers. Now, this is a very expensive branch, and so I'm going to reevaluate and make sure that I can do this without... All right, so thankfully I didn't have to open up too many of my chests. I got lucky with some of the drops, and so I'm still saving up my platinum and gold chests for a very large opening, potentially the end of the season or next season, maybe one in each of the seasons, and we'll see when we get there. But without further ado, don't want to drag this video out too much longer. I'm going to claim all of the items in this branch and put the rune on my base, and then break down a little bit. Oh man, which one do I want? Let's just grab abyssal eggs. I have tons of rune dust that I don't use, so the eggs might come in handy a little bit more so. And then at the very end, once I put it on my base, take these free embers. Awesome. And then I won't be grabbing that. So now I'm going to put it on the base, and then I'm going to break down a little bit about who I think should consider this branch. Okay, so this is my setup here for that island. You can see I have the dark and ice flak on the same tower, I guess, section that the same runes would apply to both of those towers. And what I have on there right now is an exotic dark flak HP glyph, an exotic ice flak HP glyph, and then rune. And then the glyphs I have, again, most of it actually is boosting the ice flak. So part of me is now thinking I was planning on taking off the dark flak HP rune and put the ice flak one, or the dual one, on there. And this dual one actually gives a majority ice flak and then some extra dark flak. So I'm still leaning towards doing the ice flak, because I would say the ice flak is a bit more of an influential tower, because if you get extra super shots off from it, then that can make a huge impact. And if you can prevent it from being one shot, it can have a huge impact on preventing the dragon from completing the run. And in that case, I would like to boost the HP of that ice flak, that single tower, as much as possible. And so I think what I'm going to do, and I can always change this decision later. Unfortunately, it still takes rubies to remove runes off of your base, which is unfortunate. But we are going to do this anyways, and then we are going to put the exotic ice plus dark flak HP glyph on there. And we are going to confirm that, and we are going to upgrade it. And the next upgrade would be 10% and 5%. So you know what? Let's just go ahead and max that out. We'll max this one out too. So now we've got 20% for my ice flak, 5% for the dark flak, plus some extra, another 9%. Oh, let's max that one out too. So that's 30% for the ice flak, and then another 3% from the legendary ice flak HP glyph. So we have a pretty beefed up ice flak. If you have the sigils, if you are a endgame player or a spender, I think it's a glyph that is worthwhile having. But if you're going to be pushing for a mythic and you're not sure if you're going to get there, then I wouldn't let it sidetrack you, because that rune is not going to be a game changer necessarily for your base. It will help for sure, but I wouldn't necessarily break the bank in order to get that Rune. So I hope this video was at least interesting and hopefully helpful for you. Good luck with your decision and the next event, and I hope to see you in the next video.